Once upon a time, in a very serene and beautiful village called Irepodun, there lived a certain family consisting of the father, Shegun, the mother, Rolake, and their only daughter, Rolari. They were a very close knit family that had the best of the best in the community. They paid so much attention on their child, and still, despite the wealthy nature of the man of the house, he was someone that was loved by everyone. He had lots of livestock, and he has different workers that work for him on the farm. But one thing about him is he's a very generous man. Rolake, the wife, despite having one child, prides herself as being the mother of the community. Her husband's wealth rubbed well on her, and she finds time to cook for all the children, at least weekly in the community. In fact, the children in the community will tell their parents that their lunch on a certain day should not be prepared in the house because Rolake will always, by herself, cook in very large quantity and share with all the children in the community. This always gladdened the hearts of the children, and they will always pray for her and cherished every moment they enjoyed the sumptuous dish of Rolake, the tagged mother of the community. Hmm. This Rolake did joyfully, still hoping and praying in her heart for God to give her more children. Oh, she loved children so much. She gives herself selflessly to them. She likes buying things, especially cooking, and she's a fantastic cook. As time goes on, Rolake will always pray, go to different places to have one more child. She feels that having just one child will make a beautiful daughter, Rolari, quite reserved and alone. However, she never lets this steal her joy, as she always believe and hope and give herself and her time and her skill of fantastic cooking to the children in the community of Irepodun. Despite having the time for the children in the community, she makes sure that she spends good and quality time with her only daughter, Rolari. Rolari has beautiful hair and she's a very beautiful child. She taught Rolari values like respect, hard work, synergy with people, and humility. She does this kind of discussions, especially when she's making her hair. Such priceless moments. As the days go by, they will always still make time out as a family. Their father, a highly successful man, was always very available for his family. It takes time to have productive discussions on how to make them happier and also the advantages of not just being wealthy but also being humble and relatable to the people of the community. What a wonderful, happy, jolly family. But one thing that always snug in the heart of both husband and wife Shegun and Rolake is that they wanted more children. In no time, Rolake got pregnant, and it was a joyful moment for this family. They looked forward to the time Rolake will put to bed a baby, and this time, hopefully, they prayed the child should be a male child who, in African context, is seen as the carrier of the family name. So, as the weeks turned to months, and several months down the line, the expected date of delivery was looked forward to. However, there was a pain in their heart. The pregnancy has gone beyond the expected 9 months. So it became a cause for concern to say 9 months is the expected delivery of a baby. But Rolak's pregnancy has gone way beyond 9 months. So they had to look for different method or remedy for the baby to come. What has been a thing of joy was now turning to a thing of concern for Rolake, who was by this time carried the baby for almost 2 years. In this context, a lot of people brought their solutions. Some were engaged in massage, some were engaged in some of rituals, and all of that. In fact, the elders in the community had to sit down to look for a way. Irepodun community is a very close-knit community where one person's problem becomes everybody's problem. Something terrible happened. Rolake died alongside our unborn baby. This was a very, very sad moment. Not just for Segun, Rolake's husband, or Rolari, Rolake's daughter, but all the children in the community who became very sad and downcast on this unfortunate demise of the mother of the community, who always found time to take care of them by cooking every week and personally serving all the children in the community. It was a very solemn time in the Irepodun community. The tears, the gnashing of teeth continued. Segun became a shadow of himself. But what else would he do other than to comfort his inconsolable daughter, Rolari, who by now has been shattered? Rolari asked questions on why life could be so unfair and have taken a precious mom with her unborn younger sibling that never was. As time went by, Rolari's father, Segun, decided to take another wife. He feels taking another wife would make Rolari come out of a frustrated state of mind, and also maybe a woman who will step into the role that the late Rolake played in the community, and especially to be a mother to Rolari. She got the finest of jewelry and settled into marriage. However, the young children in the community always talked about dreaming about the late Rolake. They saw her in a dream, pregnant as she was, but not happy. Whenever they relate this dream of theirs to their parents and elders in the community, they became more worried and they missed her the more. More children recount how they still saw Rolake, and the elders in the village at this time had to step in. And as the children will always say, that they prayed they could have Rolake back, a mother of all mothers in the community who genuinely cared for them and who was humble enough to relate to them as a very kind-hearted woman. Rolari was also going through her own depression because her stepmother, Folashade, was not friendly with her. Folashade will always subject Rolari to lots of house chores despite having other people around who can do that. Sometimes, Rolari will go and look for her father and cry into his arms. This did not really go down well with Segun, who seemed a bit helpless in this kind of situation. Whenever there was a festival in the land, Folashade was not able to do the things that late Rolake used to do. She was not a very smiley woman. She was always looking tensed up. Rolari suffered. Lots of house chores upon house chores, and she became a very miserable young girl. This was not the Rolari who was well pampered, who was well treated, nurtured, and the envy of all the children in Irepodun community. She would run and hide somewhere, cry her eyes out, and always called upon the spirit of her late mother, Rolake. "Oh mother, how could you have left me alone in this very cruel world?" Sometimes she could go to the other elderly women in the community, and they would take time to console her, to remember that her mother loved her, and that very soon a stepmother would come to accept her. Rolari could not tell everyone all she's been going through. She seemed to be in a very, very lonely world. It was not easy for her at all. So she decided to run away from the village. She ran far, far, far away from the village. She just wanted to be everywhere but her home, a once upon a time happy home. She met an elderly man who took her in and fed her. However, she was a very miserable young lady. The old man would try to comfort her and say, "But I have to take you home because you can't continue to stay with me for days and weeks. Your father will be so worried about you." Rolari will cry, saying she doesn't want to go back home. The old man continued to persuade her. Her father, Shegun, at this point, has become a very miserable man. This has affected his business and also his state of mind. He was even not so happy that his new wife, Folashade, was not as worried as she should. The women in the community had to start talking at Folashade, saying, "You are such a wicked stepmother. We do see how you maltreat this girl until she ran away." Then, the old man convinced Rolari and he finally brought her to her father. Rolari was not excited to be back at home, though her father was overjoyed. He made up his mind one day when Shegun decided to chase away his new wife Folashade, saying, "You brought nothing to my home except spoil the relationship between my daughter and I, and also the joy and the laughter you did not bring." As he decided to chase her away from the village, the villagers were so excited. She cried and wailed as this was so embarrassing, and she had to find her way out of the community to her own village. Rolake became a happy child again. When Folashade got back to her own family, her father warned her to say, "I have always told you that as a woman who is getting married to a man who has a child and who was once married, that you should be kind. You should take your stepdaughter like yours. Now you see the kind of embarrassment you've subjected yourself and your family to. There is no going back because obviously you were not at your best behavior. So hopefully you will learn from this, take some lessons, and be a better person." What is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is it pays to be a good person. It pays to be a kind person. It pays to be somebody who shares love and who is kind. And perhaps you're a woman who is getting married to a man who has had children before. You have to be open-minded. You have to take the child or the children just the way you would do yours. Thank you very much for watching. I hope we've been able to pick 1 or 2 lessons from this. See you in the next video. Bye.